Hello friends and my dear students. As in the last lecture we have studied about the die casting, and in the series of this special casting methods we have studied initially with the cell molding procedure of casting. Then we moved to our investment casting. Then we have studied die casting in the last session. Now today we will talk about centrifugal casting, semi-centrifugal casting and centrifuging. Okay, these topics we will cover in this session. Okay, so let's start with centrifugal casting. What is the process of this centrifugal casting? Is molten metal is introduced into a rotating sand, metal or graphite mold, okay, and held against the mold by the centrifugal force. So this is attached, as you, if you will, I will illustrate with the help of diagram as well, so then you will understand until it solidify. Okay, so basically a mold is set up and rotated along a vertical direction, okay, or a horizontal direction. Okay, so the mold is coated with a refractory coating, means that mold should always be coated with refractory coating. Okay, because whenever you do some kind of rotational work with the mold, then it may create some kind of deformations. So to avoid this, you have to use some refractory coating. During cooling, lower density impurities will tend to rise towards the center of rotation. Now, true centrifugal casting. Okay, this is the casting bed. This is sand lining, top rollers on the both sides, flask, orifice, and pouring basin. From here, you are pouring the material. These are the bottom rollers. So this is your whole setup for your centrifugal casting. With the help of, you can generate the properties of material or enhance the properties of material by centrifugal casting method. Now, the mechanical property of centrifugal casting jobs are better compared to the other process because of the inclusions such as slag, oxides get segregated towards the center. Because if you will see that any disk is rotating centrifugally, means it is rotating with along with the axis, then it will create some kind of centrifugal forces. Okay, and all the major or heavy content will come in the center of that disk. Okay, similarly here in all the centrifugal cast job, all the inclusions or slag or oxides get segregated towards the center and can easily be removed by machining. Okay, also the pressure acting on the metal throughout the solidification causes the porosity to be eliminated, giving rise to dense material. Okay, means porosity will be very negligible in the centrifugal cast job. Okay, so in this way it will try to increase the density of the metal you are using for this centrifugal casting of material. Okay, no cores are required for making concentric holes in case of true centrifugal casting. Okay, in case of true centrifugal casting there is nothing, it is means cores are not necessary to be providing concentric holes. Okay, so in true centrifugal casting cores are not required. Okay, sometimes this question has been asked in many competitive exams, that cores are required for which kind of centrifugal casting. So for true centrifugal casting, no cores are required. Now, what are the advantage of this centrifugal casting? Fine grained structures at the outer surface of the casting, free of gas, and shrinkage cavity porosity, means shrinkage cavities will not be there, gases insertion will not be there, and porosity will be very low or negligible. Formation of hollow interiors in cylinder without cores, means without cores you can produce the hollow interiors in the cylinder. Okay, can produce wide range of cylindrical parts, means centrifugal casting is basically utilized for centrifugal parts, including one of large size. Some larger size cylindrical parts can also be produced. Good dimensional accuracy will be very good. Soundness and cleanliness. Okay, there is no need for gates and runners, which increase the casting yield reaches almost 100%, means gates will not be there, runners will not be there, so definitely it will increase the casting yield. Okay, means casting yield is percentage of material going to be utilized in the original parts. Suppose you started with 100 kg of pouring material, and at the end you get 80 kg of your original parts. Okay, so that is 80% of your casting yields, but here this casting yield may reach to 100% in many cases. So this is very effective in consideration of your wastage, means the wastage of material will be very poor. Now, what are the limitations of this centrifugal casting? More segregation of alloy component during the pouring under the forces of rotation, means segregation of alloy material will be higher because of the force of rotation. Contamination of internal surfaces of casting with non-metallic inclusions. Some metallic inclusions or some non-metallic inclusions will be there in the internal surface of casting. Inaccurate internal diameter, sometimes internal diameter may deviate from the accurate dimension. Shapes are limited in this centrifugal casting, mostly majorly cylindrical. Spinning equipment can be expensive, means to give rotation up to some higher RPM, it is very hard and it is very expensive as well. Poor machinability. Machinability will be very poor. Machine means if you are going to machine the parts, then it will require very high strength single point cutting tool to machine, okay, or very high strength material so that you can machine the centrifugally casted jobs. Now, what are the common metals which can be used for the centrifugal casting, which are iron, steel, stainless steel, and alloy of aluminum, copper, and nickel. These are some preferable material for this centrifugal casting. Now, this is a question in GATE 2002. In centrifugal casting, the impurities are uniformly distributed, forced towards the outer surface, trapped near the mean radius of casting, collected at the center of casting. Then definitely it will collected at the center of casting. Okay, so this will be your answer. So practice these questions as well. I am keeping these questions open for you, so you can practice and do comment in the description box of this video. We will discuss it in the comment section. Now, what is this semi-centrifugal casting? Centrifugal forces assist the flow of the metal from central reservoir to the extremities of a rotating symmetrical mold, which may be either expandable or multiple use. Rotational speed are lower than the true, means in centrifugal casting rotational speed means RPM will be lower than the true centrifugal casting, which we have studied before. So cores can be used to increase the complexity of product, means cores are going to be used in semi centrifugal casting so that you can produce some complex job with the help of this semi centrifugal casting. So this is the diagram, or this is the setup which they are going to use if you are producing the parts with the help of semi centrifugal casting. This is drag, this is scope, this is holding fixture, and this is revolving plate, means it will revolve or rotate. This is pouring machine in gate, okay. This is the feeder, and this is the casting. This dark color, this is your casting, okay. So this is the whole setup for your centrifugal casting. Now let's see what do you understand by the centrifuging. Basically, centrifuging means using centrifuging action to force the metal from a central pouring reservoir into separate mold cavity that are offset from the axis of rotation. Means if your axis of rotation are somewhat different to your mold cavities, then it will work at low speed, may used to assist in pouring of investment casting trees. Okay, investment casting trees can be poured with the help, can be used. Okay, so in this way you can use, and this is the method of casting by centrifugation process. Okay, so I'm stopping binding my sessions here. This is your casting, special casting series in your manufacturing process subject in the 4th semester of your mechanical engineering B.Tech curriculum. So stay tuned with the Engineering College Banswara channel for more such content of different branches of engineering like mechanical, civil, electrical, and computer science engineering. So I have covered most of the casting process. I am not going in detail and explaining more about any casting method, because in your university exams means we are teaching here just the point of view of your university exam, so that you should be familiar about most of the casting methods. So whenever they have asked to explain few methods, then you can explain with the help of neat sketch of the setup and what are the process, how you can distinguish the advantage and disadvantage of the specific casting process, what are the limitations of that specific casting process, what are those applications in which that process can be used, and what are the most favorable metals for that casting process. that you have to point it out. Means you have to answer your question in this component wise. Okay, so in this way you can write and get more marks or grades in your exams. So stay tuned with this Engineering College Banswara YouTube channel and do subscribe this channel as well. And thank you so much for your patience listening.